Okay, so on to now our topics for this evening. I am actually speaking first because I'm doing a wrap-up of what we've been doing for the last 6 or 7 months at Uniting. Is all about what we are as bookkeepers, who we are, what we do, what we price. So I named it Product and Pricing. It's very confusing because you think, well, bookkeepers are consultants, aren't they? Don't they just charge? Is that a product? And the pricing is real, you can see, between 35 and blah. So that should be the end of my topic. But when I was investigating it and thinking about my history and what I've done, I thought I'd just share with you my journey and as some of my lovely friends have pointed out, my struggles with my pricing as well. And so I'd like to share that with you, if that's okay. I'm Susan Hart, by the way. I don't have anyone to introduce me, so I'm Susan Hart. I'm also the owner of a business called Synergy Bookkeeping Solutions. We've been operating for 13 years. I've been in the accounting industry for 23 years. And I'd actually wanted to be a dancer, but that never happened, so this is my lot. But I do love it. Actually, I do love working with clients and the people that I'm with. So, let me just get my notes out. So last month, we spoke about the skill set of the professional bookkeeper. And if you weren't here last month, just on each table, I do have the paperwork that we had, which was the 5 grades, grade 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 of the Clerical Award. And then we added another one, which was for the professional bookkeeper, which over the last 7 months we've been gathering from your input and from input from accountants and from input from clients. We've actually put in what we feel the professional bookkeeper. It's actually at the front of your table here. There's only one. Sorry. The reason for this exercise, and I also gave it to you to do homework. Who actually did their homework? Oh, that is so naughty. That's it. Go and see Julie, she's the headmistress. Okay, so, well, what we'll do is I'll PDF it again for you because it's such a fabulous exercise to do. So anyway, the reason why I gave it to you, it's to help identify your skills as a bookkeeper, because bookkeeper is such a broad range. Do you all agree? I'm a bookkeeper, I've been a bookkeeper for a week. I'm a bookkeeper, I've been a bookkeeper for 25 years. I'm still a bookkeeper. So there's never really been any sort of true standard for what a bookkeeper is. So that's what we've been trying to do this year, is to consolidate and try and get some formal standard for us as a collective body here with United Bookkeepers that we might be able to work towards. So the product of bookkeeping is basically our time and expertise. That's basically what a bookkeeper does. Most of us have an hourly rate or several hourly rates. And if we're really lucky, we have employees who we can charge out and make a little bit more profit on. And if we're really lucky and we know how to quote well, we can actually, say it's going to take 20 hours and it takes 3. So things like that, So there's a whole lot of ways. But basically, there's not a lot of things. So, and the other thing is when somebody says to me, I think I'm going to be a bookkeeper. I've been working in the purchasers' offices for ABC Proprietary Limited for 20 years, and I'm just going to do an MYB course, and I think I'm going to have a go. Been doing my husband's books for, 10 years. I'm going to have a go. She's a bookkeeper, or he. So this type of bookkeeper is most likely the reason why in 2004 the Australian Taxation Office began researching the competency of the bookkeeping profession as it currently stands. The result of this research has led to the introduction of the Tax Agent Services Act 2009 that will come into force in 2010. Now, Julie has been keeping up to date with all the changes, and every month she tells you a little bit more and keeps you informed. So I'd like to pass the conversation now over to Julie just briefly, and I'd like her to recap on what are the new laws and the consequences for bookkeepers next year. She's going to just give a recap so to refresh your memory.
Essentially, the law can come in next year anytime between January and June. So it's a pretty broad range. But the hold-up is the board, the registration board for the tax agents, the tax service providers board. Applications closed in August, and of course they would have received lots of applications. So they're just going through that whole process. And once the board is established, then they will set forth how you register as a bookkeeper. You know you have to have your qualifications, minimum of a Cert 4 in bookkeeping or accounting. That is a minimum. We also know that in round about 5 to 8 years' time, that minimum will be a diploma of accounting. So if you are intending to get your qualifications, don't sit on your laurels. You'll need to up your qualification down the track as well. You need to be a fit and proper person. So that is, there's a tick box that you'll need to go through to make sure that you are a fit and proper person. You also need to have references. If you're a member of an association like Australian Accounting Technicians or Australian Business Network, a few of the others, then it's not automatic registration at all. You still have to go through the processes of applying. But it does give you a few little brownie points that you've actually been doing the work prior. There is a registration fee that will be applicable, and the latest that I heard, it was $500. So, but that'll all come to light over the next few months once the board is established, and then they will start all their, procedures of how you do it, when you do it, and in what order and what you need to get together. And it'll probably be an online process because they are, Australian Tax Office is going very automated with all its processes next year with a new reporting system that they've paid a lot of money for. And that will probably be one of those processes too, but that'll be determined later. That's only a rumour, that one.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. So as part of the commitment to you, we feel that it is our job to ensure that our members are actively working to fulfil their requirement for next year. So what does that have anything to do with product, you might ask? So the questions I ask myself is your product or is my product faulty? Do you know when you have a problem with your product line, it's faulty, you pull it from the thing and you work on it and you rewrite it, you put it on the shelf, does it work? No, pull it back. So that's what I'm trying to find out from you guys, whether you can do that for yourselves. Are you faulty in any way leading up to the legislation? Because you are your product. You and your staff are the product. So you have to make sure that you are pristine, that you are qualified, that you have got the goods to make it into the future. So will you be breaking the law if you continue to operate under the current structure once the new legislation is enacted? Do you and your staff have the necessary skills to apply the services to your customers? So these are the things over the next couple of years, because I know that there's a transition, that you really need to look at and prepare yourselves for. So this is your product. So just to give you a little bit of a story, many years ago when I first started out, I received a phone call. I was very, very young. I was at least 31. Many years ago when I first started out, I received a phone call from a business requiring a bookkeeper to help them set up and reconcile their MYB. It was easy. I thought that's great. And it was for inventory. Easy, because I do a lot of manual work for inventory, stock takes and stuff like that. And I thought it was going to be easy. So the job was MYOB inventory. They were changing over to MYB and wanted me to set up the entire system. I had limited experience in MYB at that stage, especially in MYB and inventory, and I made such a mess, and I paid for it both personally and professionally, financially, because I had to actually pay to get it fixed. And so I did the right thing by getting somebody in, but I paid for it. But really, I felt so bad by it. So the experience, though, taught me three things. Know what I'm capable of, the most important thing. Get trained in the areas that I'm not 100% certain in. And seek more information from the client before I start. That might be a good thing to do. But it's the first thing I wanted to sort of talk to you tonight about, and that is know what your product is by knowing what you're capable of. Is that a fair statement? Okay, so I know my limitations. I know I'm lazy. I don't go to MYB training. So I'm very limited in some of the things I do with MYB. I've got to call people and saying, hey, what's this new feature in MYB? I'm such a lazy person in that respect. I just try and get by from what I can, but those days are gone. You have to continually upgrade, upskill, and if you are a professional bookkeeper, you must have that in you to continue to raise the level.